just realized just how much God has done in these past 10 years of my life. So this year will mark 10 years as an entrepreneur. And I say this right now as I'm literally driving past the building that I used to work in downtown. I say this the day after my 33rd birthday, when 10 years ago I was in Atlanta and met a nail tech from Chicago that encouraged me to go to nail school. And let me tell you how I planned that trip with the guy that I was dating at the time. We broke up and I said, oh no, I'm going anyway. And how that changed my whole trajectory, because I was in this job miserable, with a capital M. I hated them, they hated me. And here I am like, well, I went to college, I got this degree. Everybody told me this is such a great opportunity. I wanted to do somewhere else, go somewhere else. I wanted to go to nail school before working. But no, started this big girl corporate job downtown, by the water. All the things that everybody would just, so love and be so proud of. But it was hurting my soul. Nonetheless, go to Atlanta, and me being me, booked a spa day. Which is funny because yesterday, that's literally what I did for my birthday. I went to the spa, tried a new spa. It was amazing. It was the reset that I needed, right? But me being me, go to Atlanta, book a day at the spa. My very first service is with a nail tech, and we just chopping it up. She's telling me how she's from Chicago, how she worked her big girl corporate job while she was going to nail school, and literally gave me the game of like, well, this is how you do it. Go back and ask them people if you can rearrange your schedule so you can take night classes. Why didn't I think of that? I didn't think of that. But also, that's why it's important that you get around people who have been where you have been, so that they can help you to understand where to go, help you to like know what type of decisions to make, and even just confirm, like, I'm saying this and that was an answered prayer. 10 years later, I am now living in the blessings of an answered prayer, because I was praying to get off that job. I was praying God would give me a new job. He ended up giving me a whole new career. And also, I've been wanting to go to nail school since I was 16. I've been wanting to become a nail tech since I was 16. And this is, at that time, 5 years after that I'm having a conversation with somebody that's like, this is closer to you than you have ever been. And you got the resources to pay for it, because that was a whole nother thing. So fast forward, I go home at this job. I told you, I hated them, they hated me. I'm like, yeah, so I'm thinking about going back to school. I think I framed it like that. Or did I might have had that conversation beforehand. It was a lot going on at that time. I'm pretty sure. Nope. Beforehand. So like January, beginning of the year, you thinking, oh, what am I gonna do? I was thinking about going to the school that I'm at now. Whoa. I was thinking about going to the school that I'm at now for like organizational psychology. I really was going to tell them I was doing the organizational psychology program because it's business related. I was in HR at the time. I was going to tell them I was doing that program. Then I was going to shift to health psychology, because if you know, I am a wellness and self-care educator at my core, and always have been. I'm about the Black women taking better care of themselves with everything on their plate. But if you know, you know. Anyway, I had already said that was in January, where I'm like, I'm thinking about going back to school. They like, no, you can't go back to school right now. It's not a good time for you to go back to school. Okay. Yet and still, I come back. So this has had been the beginning of March, and I'm like, hey, what would it look like for me to change my schedule? Like maybe instead of me doing like 9 to 5, I can do like 8 to 4. got to get home earlier for something, and they were just like, no. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm salaried around this mug. So I guess I was quiet quitting. Before that was a thing, I was quiet quitting, because before that, you need me to do something, I'll stay here till 6, 7 p.m. Sure, I was 23 at the time. I wasn't doing nothing, going to happy hour, going home. Like, I wasn't doing much, right? So cool. You need me to stay extra, you need some extra work done, I'll get that done for you. No problem. Hey, I would like to change my schedule. You tell me no. All right, that's it. I'm clocking out at 5. I'm on the elevator at 5:01. I got a 20-minute walk to the train so that I can get on my train, so I can get home, so I can get in my car, so I can go to nail school. I'm not telling these people that. I'm just doing it. I'm just doing it. I signed up for school in March. April, May rolls around. They put me in the office. But listen here. They put me in the office on a Tuesday. The Friday before, there was a woman who, she wasn't HR. She was, because I worked in HR. She was like secretarial staff or something like that, but she was up there. And she had asked me to go to lunch, or I asked her to go to lunch, because I was planning on quitting that Friday. I was planning on just packing my bags, that being it, whatever, don't come back. So I asked her to lunch that Friday, because I'm like, hey, I want to make sure we stay connected. I didn't have her information. I would just see her at the job, like, whatever. So at lunch, I'm telling her, I'm like, yeah, today's probably going to be my last day. Like, I'm just finna, at the end of the day, wrap it up. And she's like, girl, don't do that. She like, get them people 2 weeks notice if that's what you're gonna do. And also just, you never know, like, you might want to use so-and-so for a resource. Talking about my supervisor, which people are now starting to open up about the trauma they experience at the hands of other Black women, and baby, stories, I got them. But neither here nor there. She's like, you might want to use her as a reference, X, Y, and Z. So just go out the professional way, because I understand. Because I didn't have anything else lined up. I was just like, nail school, and I'll find another job. Like, that was going to open up my time, free up my time for me to then find another job. Well, I went home that Friday. I wrote my note, my little letter. I had dated it for Tuesday. No, I dated it for Monday. And then the way Monday went, I was like, you know what? I'm okay. Like, I'm not going, I don't know. Like, I'm going to just thug it out. For lack of better terms. I'm going to thug it out. And, yeah. I had wrote that letter and didn't get a chance to submit it that Monday, which was fine. So I said, you know what? I'm going to give it to them on Tuesday. Change the date so that it said Tuesday. No, that's not even true. Okay, whatever it is, the date that was on the letter was the same date that I ended up getting let go. But it was such a blessing to me, because then I was able to collect unemployment and go to nail school full time. And in August of 2016, then finish nail school when I was on the path to not finish until the end of 2016. And also, like I said, my plan was just, I'm going to, find another job, do something different. During that time, not having to work, not only could I fully immerse myself in nails, but also my other passions. I love to dance. I've always been a dancer. I got my certification to teach Zumba. I was doing that on the side. I connected with some nice organizations and would go and do like pop-up classes and different things like that, really sharing my gifts and my talents with the world. So I just say all of this to say, let's wrap this up in a nice little bow, because you never know how God is going to answer your prayers. But it's important that you pray. And there's benefits in praying specific prayers, but also the Bible talks about in Ephesians, when you put on the full armor of God, part of the full armor of God is praying in the spirit. And I don't know if we realize, but that's not always tongues. Sometimes that's just the Holy Spirit has you praying a certain something, and it's like, Okay. I feel like during that time when I was praying, like God moved me, God shift me. I wasn't specific, but I was praying in the spirit. I was putting on the full armor of God, that righteousness, by not choking anybody out in a season where I was around a bunch of people that hated me and I hated them day in and day out. Putting on that helmet of salvation, going to church every week and reading the word and trying to stay encouraged and holding up the shield of faith, because who just randomly still takes a trip after somebody then broke up with you and y'all didn't plan on going on this trip together? I don't know many. Well, maybe nowadays. I feel like it's different now, but social media wasn't like that then, for people to get online and share their stories and tell you how they're doing these bold and courageous things in the face of heartbreak, in the face of disappointment and trauma and stuff like that. That wasn't a thing then. So I was literally just thugging it out with faith. And yeah, the blessing in it all is that God does answer prayers, and he answers them in such a ways that you look back however many years later, because here I am sitting here thinking about this 10 years later. Wow, I used to work in that building. Wow, I wanted to go to that school, and now I'm about to graduate. Wow, I wanted to be a nail tech, and this year I get to celebrate 10 years as a professional. Wow. I pray that God answers your prayers with things that make you go wow in this next season and beyond.